My dear friends, this is Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. I have a powerhouse on this morning, a real powerhouse, and somebody who this is his third time on. So I have had a chance to watch his journey over time, and Andrei is an absolute beacon of inspiration and a powerful example to anybody about what's possible. Andrei, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, thank you. Good
How are you?
morning. Good,
Wonderful.
man. I'm actually tired. I've been doing CrossFit in the mornings at 6 in the morning.
Really?
So, yeah, trying to get back in shape. I mean,
Okay. All
trying to
right,
be
man.
healthier.
Yeah. So we got a little bit of an idea of what kind of your New Year's or some new things you're trying to do in the new year for your personal life. Let's talk about your business. What first, give me an initial reaction about this journey over the last 2 years.
It's been amazing. I mean, I was able to quit my job. That was one of the biggest things that why I started this.
Yeah.
And my wife has actually quit her job as well now because I started this. So it's been such a great accomplishment.
And you were a restaurant manager? Is that
Yep.
what you did?
I was in the food industry for 10 years or more. Yep. Just hating life, basically working till like 2 in the morning and coming home, and especially having a daughter. It was difficult.
Yeah. And now, I was just on your podcast, of course, the last 2 years. I've watched you make, obscene amounts of money, generate followings that are, incredible. You've spoken at our mastermind. So you've basically come to an event and spoke on a legitimate stage, not just an event you hosted, but coming and delivering to our audience and our community. You've been on the show 3 times, and you started a podcast with Brian Brewer, another superstar marketer. I mean, and you've won awards, and there's accomplishments that I haven't even mentioned. I mean, did you ever think that all this would be true for you within 2 years when you started? Could you ever have imagined?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, I started this just to make an extra $300 a month because I was drowning in debt. I couldn't pay my credit cards, and just by investing, the initial $7 into the challenge really, literally changed my life. Right, 2 months in, I was able to make some type of money, and I just realized that okay, this could be a great opportunity. So I'm just gonna keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, and then eventually, I was able to quit my job in 6 months, and then I was a speaker at your mastermind on
Yeah.
my first year of doing this. Right, so it has been a great journey for me and my family.
I'm blown away. I mean, I know that you talked a little bit about your story and your family, but can you share a little bit about what this means for you and your family, like both generations past and generations to come? What does this mean on a deeper level for you and your family tree and the future of your family, and also what your parents and grandparents have gone through to for your family to be where you're at right now? What does this mean for you beyond the money?
Yeah, so well, let's start from my background, right? I'm from Peru, okay, and my grandfather is actually Russian, so he escaped the World War II, and then he was able to go to Peru. So then that's where basically my whole story. As you can see, my name is not Hispanic, my name is Russian, but I am Hispanic, right? So
Yeah.
then that's where everything started, and that's where literally my whole story started. And then from there, I was able to immigrate to the United States for the American dream, right? That's what my
Yeah.
family wanted for me, for my brothers, my sisters.
So you came to America. It was you. It
No, no, no.
wasn't.
It was my family. So
It
my
was your
family
parents.
decided for us to move to America,
How old
right?
were you?
I was 14.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 14, and then it was tough. Being immigrants for the first time. The first 5 years, it was tough. I was learning the language. At some point I couldn't get a job because I was an immigrant, right? So then after that, I was able to get a job. Of course, I started in the food industry because that was the easiest that I could do. Manage a lot of Hispanics do work in the food industry, so it was easy to communicate. You can say.
Right.
So from there, I moved up all the way to becoming a manager, right? But then that's where I was stuck. You get me? I wasn't making enough money. I was spending more money than I was making. So everything was, it kept stacking up, stacking up. And then going back to your question about how it made me feel, it was just like I felt like a failure basically to my family, my
Mm,
wife, my daughter. I felt like I wasn't a good dad. I felt like I wasn't a good husband. Um, I was doing the best I could at the time, but I knew there was more out there, right? It got to the point where we almost lost the cars that we had. We almost lost the apartment that we lived. Um, we almost lost it in a way where we were gonna, stop paying basically. But then we decided to move out of there, and I had to live with my brother-in-law in one room with my daughter and my wife. So we were there
wow.
for 6 months, and me, I felt like this is not how it's supposed to be. Like I don't, it doesn't feel right.
Right, right.
Right? It doesn't
I
feel right being
totally,
in somebody else's man's house. You get me? Like
totally,
I
bro.
love this guy. He's my brother-in-law. He has helped me so much, but then I just felt like I wasn't content at all.
I think I think every person, but I can certainly relate to that as a fellow father and a fellow husband. I can really, really, really understand that, man. And so, how long ago was that you were
That was
experiencing that?
Yeah, that was 2020. Beginning of 2020. That's where we had to move in with him, and then 6 months after that, because we are there for 6 months, I got the opportunity. My job, there was more opportunity in a different state, right? So I was like, okay, well, we have to start fresh, basically,
Mm,
right? We have to restart our life, go somewhere new, new opportunities, right? They're gonna pay me more, they're gonna give me promotions, that's what they promised me. But as soon as I say yes, we packed everything, and then we literally packed our cars and we drove from California to Texas. Okay,
that's how
so
you ended up in Texas. Okay.
that's how I ended up in Texas, right? So then, as soon as we got here, everything that they promised me was BS. Everything, everything. The opportunity wasn't there. Promotions weren't there. There wasn't enough staff for the people working that I had to manage. So I had to work extra hours. They used to send me to different locations every single week. My schedule, I will plan something to do with my wife and my daughter, and every single week they would change my schedule. So I had to change my plans with my family. And
Mm,
then when everything started happening, I called HR on them, and they just didn't give a fuck, basically. Sorry, excuse my language. They just didn't care, honestly. I I asked them, how important is family to you guys? That's what I asked them, and
yeah.
they couldn't give me an answer. They told me, oh, maybe you shouldn't be a manager anymore.
Mm.
That's what they told me. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, maybe I shouldn't be a manager, but I'm gonna take a step forward. I'm not. Maybe I shouldn't work for you guys anymore. And that's what I did.
Now, so when you initially took our challenge, had you said that yet,
No,
or
no, 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 no. I'm not one to burn the bridges, right? Like
you didn't say that out loud? You said that in your head. Then
no, well, here's the thing, right? After that conversation with the HR and everything was after I was making money with my business.
okay, I
You
got
get
you.
me?
That's
So
when
it's
you
not
okay,
it's
right?
not like I was like, all right, I'm out of here, like, no, I couldn't do that because we're in a brand new state. I had to
You
pay
got
the
a
bills
family,
still. I have
right?
no family here, no friends, so it was like
And you
I
have
had
no
to.
power in this job, right? You're brand new state. You have absolutely no power, no authority. You're the new guy, and that happens to so many of us. And that really is a destabilizing feeling when you make a move for a job and then it's not what you expect. It's a big disappointment and it's really difficult. That is so destabilizing mentally and emotionally. And it's hard, because not only did you make a huge move all the way across from a different state, but you also changed the people that you work with. And it's 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 really it's I think we don't give enough credit to how just difficult day to day life can be working, outside and having to deal with kind of all the stresses of just everyday life. But my friends, if you've made a major move in the last year, if you've even moved jobs, that is can be such a destabilizing thing, that, you know, if you feel off or you feel like your life's spiraling out of control, it's because that's a really destabilizing thing in your life. I mean, that really, and think about how much that affects our children to pick up and move.
Yeah.
You know, if it's difficult for you, it's difficult for them. And so you now were already kind of looking around. You had an eye for something else at this point. You were
Yeah.
no longer loyal to the dream that they were selling you. And so this is when you started on social media. You started coming across information about our company and our challenge. And how much internet marketing or tech experience did you have when you started? And by the way, if you're just coming on and you don't know Andrei's story, in the last 2 years, I mean, his life has taken an entire 180. I mean, from both quitting his job, his wife quitting her job, and having a really fantastic life. But I'd like to go back and understand what you really felt and experienced when you were first getting started, because so many people put somebody like you up on a pedestal as if you've always been this successful.
Mhm.
And so when you were just about to quit your job and you're going through our challenge or whatever, or you want to quit your job, what are you feeling? Is this all new to you? Was being on video new to you? Could you never imagine yourself getting on video and doing what you do? Just tell us, relay some of the feelings in kind of what you were experiencing personally at the very beginning.
Yeah. So the goal was to make some extra cash on the side. So I was working the manager job, and then I would drive Postmates. I would drive to deliver food right after
Okay.
work. So I
You were
wasn't
doing
getting home. I was working extra hours, but I wasn't getting home till after.
got it.
Right. So then I was like, okay, I can't be away from my family this long. So then I started looking on social media, I started looking online, and the first thing that I found was drop shipping. That's the first initial thing that I found, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it.
Mm.
I tried it for a month. I tried for 1 or 2 months. I think it was 2 months. Um, I did make some sales. It felt amazing, and then as soon as I got one refund, I freaked out. So I literally self-sabotaged my whole drop shipping business, and I was like, okay, no, this is not gonna work out. It's not sustainable, and I started just my mind kept going, right?
Yeah.
So I was feeling like there had to be something else out there. So then that's when I went back to social media, and that's when I was on TikTok, and then I found a 17-year-old doing the promoting legendary marketer. Disclaimer: you can't be 17 anymore. You gotta be 18, right, to start. But
Yes.
I found this 17-year-old guy, and at that time I was 29, and I was like, well, this kid can actually do it, and maybe I
Was that
can too.
Daryl back then?
Yep, yep.
Man,
He's
he's so smart, man.
he's the reason I started, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, if this kid can do it, then and he's literally just going to college, you get me? I'm raising a family. I think I can do this.
Right. I'm a grown man, right? I
Yeah,
mean, I can figure it out, right?
exactly. So then I took action right away. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I took action, and then I didn't quit my job right there. It took me 6 months since I took action to actually build the business, build the following. I was feeling so excited. Though some mornings I would wake up and maybe I would get a high ticket commission, and then I would still go to work because that was still my what I was supposed to
But
do.
you didn't want to.
Yeah, I was like, why am I gonna go? Right? I was driving. Keep in mind, I had to drive 40 minutes to get to work every single day. 40 minutes. So I would wake up making a high ticket commission, and I'm driving to work, and I'm just like, why? Like I was just thinking, like, why am I
No,
doing
I
this?
know. I know. No, I mean, and I think back to the first $1,000 week that I had in doing this business, internet marketing and affiliate marketing. And, man, to make $1,000 cash doing construction, working with my dad, man, that was like 2 to 4 weeks. You know what I mean? So I remember when at least, you know what I mean? I mean, sometimes if we didn't work, because yeah, we weren't crushing it, you know. So, anyways, I made $1,000 in a week one time. I remember, and I was telling, I remember telling my wife's parents. I was like, oh man, because I also felt like, hey, gosh, man. I mean, when my wife met me, she met me in 12-step recovery, dude. You know what I mean? So I had just gotten clean not too long ago. I didn't have a whole lot to brag about. I didn't have a whole lot to really wow them with. So man, I can remember we were at the beach, and I remember saying, had $1,000 week or something like that, and I was so proud, man.
Yeah, I remember my first high ticket. Oh my god, I got an email the night before, about some guy interested in buying the high ticket, and then I told my wife, "Babe, you gotta help me write this email because if we write it good, then the next morning we're gonna get a high ticket commission." So when thankfully it happened, the next morning I ended up getting a high ticket commission, and I felt so happy. Like the feeling, it was just like kind of like I told you so, but not really because she
Yeah.
always supported me. But it just felt amazing, that feeling.
Yeah, and it it's really a mental shock to make money in that way when the only way that you've ever made money is to maybe do physical labor or show up for a job. Like for me, the first money that I ever earned as a kid was mowing lawns. And that was, I remember telling a guy I was going to mow his lawn for $5, and man, I regretted charging him only $5. It took me 2 days to mow the lawn, and then he paid me in all change. I was so pissed. But I grew up and money was really difficult to earn. You know what I mean? Like it didn't come easy. It wasn't. There was no high leverage. I didn't even witness any high leverage automated ways of money. All my parents, they left the house. My dad was a plumber and a construction guy. My mom sold shoes at Sears, and they went to their jobs. So for me, making money on the internet, either from my phone or the desk at the house, right? You know how you gotta or a computer at the house. You got a computer at the house. I never viewed the computer at the house as like a way to make money. It was just a computer at the
Yeah.
house to check email and shit, or that my parents checked email with. But when I started using at first my dad's computer, and then my then girlfriend, now wife, bought me a computer, and I started working on that. It was a whole new paradigm for me. My mind got a complete shock that I was able to make money in such a non-labor intensive
Right.
way that I did not have to leave the house. What were some of the things that was doing video for you? What was that like, getting on video for the very first time and beginning to actually market when you were brand new?
Yeah, I felt super insecure at first. I was making a couple videos. I felt really nervous. That the angle wasn't perfect, the lighting wasn't perfect, the edit on the video wasn't perfect. I was just feeling like I'm I, I'm gonna get better in the future. You get me? Like I suck right now, but if I implement and I keep doing it and I keep doing it and I keep doing it, eventually I might be good at doing this. But at first, I'm gonna say the first 100 videos that I made, they didn't get any traction, and they were just horrible. Like if I could look back at my first TikTok account, there I just look back right now and then I'm like, what what the hell? Like, but now, you evolve that type of, um marketing. Basically, you evolve your way of doing things,
Yeah.
and then
But
you start learning.
that was your thought. I got to get better at this.
Yeah, exactly. Or that I gotta get better at this, and let's just put it out there, type of thing,
Mm, yeah.
right?
Yeah, so many people I think now are either not not creating and pressing post, or they do and then they just press draft, right?
Yep. Yep. And then it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think I'm a perfectionist. Like I want everything to be legit, right?
Yeah.
When I make something, but it doesn't have to be in the beginning. It doesn't have to be. You just have to get out of the comfort zone that you are in, you know? And then it is a great feeling once you start making money with literally your computer, with your phone. You mentioned that, yeah, before, you have to do labor work, right? Yeah, I mean, my back doesn't hurt anymore, my wrist doesn't hurt anymore from working at the restaurant. So it's like those little things, actually make a difference. Like I'm not grumpy every time I come from work, right? Because that was me. I was a grumpy guy. Going to work. I mean, I was hating everything. I was hating life. I just didn't, that's just how
Yeah.
it was. And I
Yeah.
was stuck. I felt stuck in the world.
So describe your general mental and emotional state now. You just described what it used to be like. Describe your mental and emotional state now and what an average day for you looks like.
Yeah, well, now I'm not grumpy. You know, I am able to spend time with my family. That's the biggest thing that I could possibly do and want back then. My daughter has. I'm able to do activities with my daughter. She goes to her swimming class. I'm able to be there with her. She does soccer 3 times a week. I'm able to be there to every single of her games. Right. So before I was working holidays. Right. So my mental state was like, I don't even want to be here. Right. But now I feel way happier than I was before, for sure.
What was Christmas like this year? I mean, knowing that you didn't have to worry about a schedule or go and show up or serve other people or whatever. I mean, has that been different for you these last couple of years, in particularly since we just came through it, or the holiday season in general?
Yeah, it's been different. The first year that I started, or the first year, or last year actually. No, 2021. Okay, that I was able to fly my family to Texas, right? So we were able to spend the whole holidays with them here in Texas, and it was their first time in Texas as well. But just being able to do stuff like that, I would never have been able to do it before. Never, not even. I would never even think about it.
Yeah.
Doing something like that. Never, never.
Doing something for a family member, right? I mean, like flying your family in from another state. It's I know what you mean because I was once also in a position to where I mean, for me, I personally felt like a burden to because I had such a I had such I made so many bad choices when I was a teenager and young adult that, I felt like, oh my God. But eventually, I felt less and less like that, and then I just felt like I couldn't do enough, like I was kinda powerless in a way, and now as I've developed these skills, I've been able to, and you've seen a lot of the things that I've been able to do for my family, and I've done many more things for friends and family behind the scenes that I don't share on the internet. What does it feel like? Would you be able to describe and say a little bit more about what it's like to do something like that for your family? Because I really, for me, Andre, when I've been able to do those things and I've been able to do some really cool things and help out some people that I care for, that feeling has really lasted with me. It's not just kind of like one of those one and done, and then it lasts. Like for me, the goodness of that act last. Like I feel good. I can continue to think about it, and it like motivates me to want to maybe do it for somebody else. What could you say what it's like personally for you to be able to actually do something that significant as fly your family in from another state to be able to spend the holidays with you, and I'm sure many other things that you've done for your family? Like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I felt I felt proud. I was getting my confidence back, right? I went from being a failure to myself, like me thinking I'm a failure, to being someone that I worked so hard to become, and I just felt proud and accomplished of doing that. And even seeing my mom, my dad, just seeing how successful I have become, right?
Yeah.
From not being that successful, they knew my struggles, right? At some point, I had to ask my mom to borrow money from her because I couldn't pay the rent, type
Right.
of thing. And then going from there to coming here and showing them what I have accomplished, and moving states. Yeah, it was for the opportunity as well, but we just needed to restart our life, start from scratch, right? So moving was never a bad idea. Coming here and realizing that the job was horrible, I was still thinking, okay, this move was still good to us. You know, it was still good. We had to just restart, start over again. And thankfully, everything worked out. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I felt accomplished. I felt proud just seeing my mom, my dad here, seeing what I accomplished. I was able to buy a house here in Texas too. So it's just amazing.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Congrats. I mean,
Thank you.
I didn't know you bought a house and are a homeowner now. I mean, that's such a cool, huge thing. Especially thinking about that you started this in 2020. I mean, usually, gosh, things just don't happen that fast for people in the normal world. Following the normal plan. How have you dealt with your family? Did they ask any questions? Did they say, "Hey, where's all this money coming from? What are you doing, Andre?" Did they ask at all?
Yeah, of course they asked because they were seeing. I mean, they follow me on social media and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, well, this is a new business model." Of course they didn't understand what it was, but
Right, right. Of
but
course
I,
not.
I had to explain a little bit. Yeah, it actually works. They thought it was like an MLM or like a pyramid type of scheme. But then I had to explain to them, no, it's actually different. I'm just making these videos and marketing to other people using social media. And yeah, they understood, and they honestly they didn't ask too many more questions after that. They were just like, okay, I just want to see you do good.
Yeah.
That was their mentality, and that's what we did. Um, One another accomplishment that I was able to do for my family and myself, I was able to go back to Peru after 16 years. So
Wow.
we recently just did that, and I took my wife and my daughter over there. So I wanted to show them where I came from, like the type of life that I had over there,
Yeah.
and we were able to see everything. And it just my wife's mind just was blown because I would show her, hey, you see like this street right here. I used to live here, and then she would be like, wow, like
Was she
you've come
born
a
in
long way.
America? Was she born in
She's born
America?
in America, yeah. So
Now,
it's a
are you
third world
from Lima?
country.
Are you from Lima?
I'm from Lima, yeah.
We talk. I mean, I think I shared that with you that Aaron and I traveled to Lima and then went up to Machu
Machu
Picchu,
Picchu,
Cusco, right? Which
yeah,
is the city
Cusco.
that we went to Cusco. Lima is serious, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, the
that's a
first the,
different world than any city in America, in my
Yep.
opinion.
As soon as you get
Totally.
there, it's because it's not the best area. The airport area is not the
Right.
best area.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
then if you go to like more inward, maybe north, a little bit north, then you're getting
Yeah, it's beautiful.
a better nice area. The people are amazing. The people are super friendly. But then when you go to Cusco, then it's just a complete different world.
It is. It is. It's magical. I mean, you get up in those mountains and it's magical. But there's definitely a lot of poverty there, and there's a lot of struggle, and it's not common um, for people to become, I would assume, I mean, super successful. And it's not even common here in America. I mean, we are still the 1% of 1% of 1% or whatever. I mean, it's not like it's super common, but um, the obstacles that you've had to overcome to be able to be here today, not only immigrating, but then the move, the learning the language, I mean, and overcoming your own ego, that story that you told about living in your brother-in-law's house in that one bedroom apartment, Andre. That's you know that really
Mhm.
strikes, that really hits, man. You know what I mean? To think about that, and obviously, me, especially as a father and a husband, but golly, I would assume the mothers and the wives, or just any human being could relate to that story. um, to think about that and think about where you are now, that you've just bought a home and you've got a completely new outlook on life and you've got skills. That's the thing. That's the difference between this and an MLM, is that first of all, there's absolutely no requirement when you go through our education to promote our products. There's no requirement whatsoever. But the difference is that we're learning skills here that nobody can take from us. If God forbid, which we have plans to hopefully make sure this never happens, even if something happens to me, but God forbid something happened to Legendary, just woke up tomorrow and I don't know, it's just gone, for what, hypothetically.
Mhm.
everybody's got skills. Everybody's learned skills here that nobody can take from them. And that's the difference between joining a business, like what many of us have done with MLM, where we get in, we get hyped up, make a list of your friends and family, and basically just try to connect those friends and family with whoever your upline is and try to convince them to buy the toilet paper and get in the business. That's not what we're doing here. It's actually, we actually instruct specifically and teach you how to build an audience from scratch, meaning that you're never, ever marketing to your friends and family. As a matter of fact, we recommend that the majority of you who already have existing social media profiles just start a new one. Don't even, deal with the conflict or the awkwardness or the questions or whatever. Just completely start from scratch, because Andrei, the skills are what gives you the money, the ability to be able to literally start from scratch and to create traffic, leads, and sales. And you have those skills, right? You've had to, I'm sure you've had, gone through, or even now have multiple TikTok accounts, multiple social media accounts. Whether you lose one gets, shadow banned, whatever we want to call them, and I'm asking you this, so let me frame it like a question. Do you have the skills? Is what I'm saying true for you? And can you say that in your own words? What learning these skills, because you're also somebody who's come through and invested in your education here. You've gone through our challenge. You bought our blueprints. You showed up to calls. You asked questions. Even when you came to a mastermind, you were sitting in the audience taking notes and learning and asking questions and stuff like that. So, can you say what those skills have done for you, and try to kind of like explain to people in your words the difference between like just starting a business, some sort of an MLM or something like that, where you're just kind of hawking a product, and actually learning these skills and how you can not only use them as an affiliate marketer, but there's 4 other business models we teach here, which is courses, coaching, and events, all selling information, all business models that have been proven to last through any recession, but pandemic, anything. When all the drop shipping businesses were suffering because they couldn't get their product out because of supply chains, all of us information marketers who sell courses, coaching, events, or affiliates, our business only continued to grow through 2021 and 2022. Legendary Marketer experienced 200. I was just doing the math over the weekend. We experienced 11% growth in 11% growth in 2020, 203% growth in 2021, 30% growth in 2022. Okay, so back down to more of a kind of a normal, still a growth company. But that year where in 2021, our company, courses, coaching, and events, we're not teaching drop shipping, but making all our money from selling courses. Like we're eating our own cooking. And during that time when so many business models suffered, for example, during that pandemic, our business increased 203%. We did $6,141,505 in 2020, and jumped up to $18,610,353 in 2021.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that's what I'm talking about with the skills and learning the right business model. How would you talk about or describe those skills to people who are kind of new here in the importance of learning those skills, who are just kind of in a rush to like earn a commission and aren't really putting enough importance on developing the skills? What would you say about the importance of learning?
So you have to have a learning mentality. Even if you think you know almost everything, you don't. There's one more out there to learn. Okay, so when you guys invited me to be a speaker in your mastermind, I went to them with a mindset of what else can I learn in this event, right? So that was my mentality. And then I invested in the blueprints, right? Because I saw that you were actually giving more skills like courses, how to create your own course, how to do your own events, how to do coaching, how to do masterminds and stuff like that. And just how you say, social media is going to be up and down, right? One day your account could be gone. And I had multiple accounts from my Instagram that are gone, completely gone. But then every time one of them were shut down, I already knew the skills of how to grow and the next one.
Yes.
You get me? So
Yeah.
those skills you're never gonna forget those skills. If you did it once, you can do it twice. You can do it 3 times. You can do it 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. And you gotta keep going. One advice that I can give people is don't be too attached to just your main platform, your main account, because you never know when that account is gonna be gone. Just learn from it and then apply the same skills that you apply to grow that account. Apply it to the next account, and
Yeah.
it will grow. Trust me, it will grow.
And you've got an email list too, right?
And you got an email list.
How large have you grown? And size doesn't particularly matter in email marketing, but I'm just wondering how many leads have you generated since you started?
Well, since I started, probably 80,000 leads on my email list. But I'm always like going up and down with those numbers, fixing it and stuff like that. But
Do you mean filtering out people who are not
yeah, there's
opening emails and stuff?
yep. It's like if somebody's not opening, then I basically just take them out.
Yeah.
And especially third world countries, they're not able to, buy stuff. So it's like unfortunately that it happens, but it's like I'm paying for them to be in my list. So might as well
Yes.
just delete those persons.
Yeah. Yeah. And all do you use Aweber?
I do use a Weber. Yeah. So
They've got those filtering functions to where you can clean your list
mhm.
and choose people who are either from specific countries, or you can also choose people who have not opened an email in
Yeah.
6 months.
I think it's called the dormant subscribers, the ones that don't
Dormant.
have dormant. Yeah. The
Yeah.
ones that haven't opened an email. Maybe they opened them in the beginning, but if 6 months on and they're still not opening any emails, you're just wasting your click-through rate, you're wasting
Yeah.
your percentage and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So I,
Yeah.
I tend to clean it out every 6 months as
You know what that's called? Just for some industry jargon, that's called list hygiene.
Mm,
List hygiene, email list hygiene, sort of like teeth hygiene,
yep.
skin hygiene. It's list hygiene. It's keeping your list free of um, free of like spam traps. There's also, there's all kinds of silly, weird stuff that goes on the internet. Bad email addresses. If somebody's put fake email
Yep.
addresses in to opt into your list, every time you email that list, you're emailing those fake email addresses, and that doesn't. That's not. It's just not good for your delivery score, for
Mhm.
your overall health of the business that you're doing on your list, and all the Aweber Get Response track that. So yeah, that's why I said that size doesn't matter. I know we're taking a little bit of a rabbit hole down email marketing, but it's a really important part of this business, and you can kind of simplify this entire business down to kind of a couple of core components, which is your traffic source, your funnel, and your email list. Those are kind of the three most important mechanical pieces of this, and everything else is the dynamics. It's what you're saying, how you're saying it, how you're telling the story. Are you choosing, are you talking about things that are really relevant to your target audience? Are you telling stories that they really can
Mhm.
relate to, like the story that you told about? I mean, if you're in the make money online niche, that story about sleeping in your brother-in-law's bedroom, that's a heart.
Mhm.
That'll pull at the heartstrings. Every person can relate to that. That's a really relevant story. That's the same reason why I've always told my construction story and stuff like that, because it's relatable. People can relate to it. But back to the email marketing thing and kind of the three important pieces to focus on: your traffic source, your bridge page funnel,
Mhm.
which is really just 2 pages, and you just
That's
need
all
to
it
have
is.
them set up correctly and have the right things on them based on your niche. And then you've got your email list. I mean, of course, you can be sending that traffic somewhere, but that's you don't own and operate. If you're an affiliate wherever you're sending your traffic, you're owning and operating your traffic source, which is your social media accounts or wherever you're driving traffic from, your bridge page funnel, and your email list. And the reason why that email list is so important, and Andre, over a decade, the email list has stayed important. It's
It never
not a
changed.
fad. It's not a trend. That's always stayed at the top of the importance kind of pyramid, if you will, is those email addresses and collecting those email addresses. And the reason why is because so many people are not going to buy right off the bat. You'll want to be able to follow up with them. And the better you get at following up, the better you get at communicating with them via the written word, the better that, or the more money you're going to make. How has your writing or copywriting, email marketing improved over the last 2 years? And how have the results either gone up or gone down based on your improvements?
Yeah, so as far as email marketing, I love the swipes. You get me? Because this is like the best things to get started, right? But then you have to share your story, even in your emails. You have to make sure the people that are going in your email list, you have to make sure that they get to know you, they trust you. Because if they don't trust you, then they're not gonna buy. They're not gonna buy at all, right? So the more you share your story, you're open about sharing your story, the more and more people are gonna relate. That's how you're gonna find your target audience as well, right? So when I run my emails, I literally just, for example, when I went to Peru, I was just telling the whole thing about how I worked so hard to do this, and I sent an email. And the cool thing about it is that I went on the back office too, and I on the affiliate link, right? Like I tagged it, which emails. Whenever I send a broadcast email, I tag it with a different keyword, so I know what type of emails convert and then what type of emails don't convert, right? So when I did that one with everything that I accomplished of going to Peru with my family, I got like 10 signups just by sending that email in one day, right? So, and it's just sharing my stories, my experiences throughout the day, and you have to just be open about it. I think sharing your story is like the most important thing that you can do.
Sharing your story and even learning to tell story, one of the things that I taught on Decade in a Day on Friday, which anybody who owns the blueprints can reattend Decade in a Day if you want to. I'm now hosting that entire thing because what I'm doing is teaching how to come up with not only your kind of target audience and really dig into their pain points and understand, because you can, based on the prompts that you give these AI assistants, they'll really do a lot of the work for you. So, and then how to come up with video ideas, how to come up with content ideas, how to have artificial intelligence write lead magnets for you, landing pages for you, just do the copy. Yeah, Sylvia was there. Decade in a Day on Friday was fire. So a lot of the things that we once had to do all on our own, we've now got a lot more tools to help us do that. And it's really about, it's really just about having a basic understanding of the timeless principles that we teach here at Legendary. And then and that's what I made sure to tell people on Friday too, was, it's really important to still go through and understand the basic principles, these timeless principles that we teach here.
Hmm.
And then even as different tools come out, including artificial intelligence, you can accomplish so much more with these tools when you have a basic understanding of what you're looking for, versus just expecting to learn nothing and be able to just have artificial intelligence or something do it all for you,
Do it everything,
or
right?
or
Yeah.
or, be able to find the right marketing coach who is going to do it all for you. There's an element of that, and that's why we call our flagship program the Business Blueprints, is because there's such a difference of just learning how to use a hammer and just swing a hammer and use the tool, and then stepping back and being able to read the blueprints and see how the whole house is going to be built. So many newbies come on and they just say, give me the damn tool, just give me the hammer, and they want to start swinging at everything that looks like a nail. And it's like, well, that's where a lot of the frustration comes in, because you don't actually know what you're building. You don't know what you're building here. You don't know what it's supposed to look like. You don't have any of the kind of concepts that you have to have about marketing, which is that marketing is math, but there's everything is also a test, right?
Yeah. You
And
gotta
that
keep trying new things, you know?
always
Always,
there
always.
there's not one single person who can ever tell you, oh, this is the exact way that it has to be done, because there's best practices, but the best marketing is when you insert a little bit of your own flavor, whoever the spokesperson is, whether it's your authentic self. What I saw somebody saying, I want to use a dog as the person, as the spokesperson. Go through the business blueprints and see in that fishing formula where I teach you specifically that you can be the spokesperson or somebody else can be the spokesperson. It's fine, but you still have to have the same elements involved, which are whoever the spokesperson is has to be able to relate and tell stories to the target audience.
Yep.
Whoever the target audience is, you have to make it about them. You can't make it about you. And I see so many people who are frustrated because, man, they haven't made my first sale yet or whatever. And it's like, the reason why you haven't made your first sale maybe is because you're not making it about them enough, right? You got to make it about them. So it doesn't matter who the spokesperson is. You still have to tell stories. You still have to edutain them,
Mm-hmm.
combine education with entertainment. That's exactly what they're on social media for in the first place. And when you do that, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you sound like. It doesn't matter, Andre, didn't you struggle at the beginning with hearing your voice and not liking it, or seeing yourself on video and not like, you said that it took you 100 videos before
Mm-hmm.
you even felt like you were even remotely good. But see, nobody really gives a shit about your voice. Nobody really cares about how you look. They only care about whether what you're saying and doing is educational, entertaining, and relates to them. That's it.
Yeah. It's like you have to be able to impact them in some way. You have to make sure they're feeling some type of way when they see your content, right? And as soon as you are as soon as they feel something, then they're most likely gonna follow you, and they're gonna be watching your content. As soon as one video pops up, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be watching more of your videos, because that's what people like to do. People like to consume content, right? They're not gonna. Some people buy right away. Some people don't buy right away. But the more you stay consistent, you keep posting those videos, and they're gonna be consuming all that content, and then they're gonna be able to trust you in the long run.
Yeah, and isn't it really a relationship building process, Andre? Have you experienced that, to really now fully believe that everybody doesn't buy right away?
Yeah.
They really, as you said, consume content sometimes for weeks and sometimes for months, right?
Yeah. So what I used to do was, let's say a video will go viral, right? And I will get so many comments, so many messages, and then I was thinking, okay, now what do I do? Like like I have so many people like messaging me, and then I'm just replying, thinking if this is the best thing that they're gonna make them to take action. And it was trial and error. Like some conversations went to nothing, some conversations were good, and they actually went into buying something.
Mhm.
But it's just you gotta keep on learning. You gotta keep trying new things. Because at first I would get so many messages and none of them will buy. But then the more I perfected the skill of conversating with people and talking to them, then more commissions were coming in. More people were actually taking action after that.
Yeah, in a way, conversational selling is a real thing. That's a real strategy that I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think we need to put more emphasis on that. There is a lot of sales that get made because somebody sees a piece of your content and then reaches out to you in a direct message.
Yep.
And how you respond to that person really can make or break whether they buy something.
Mm-hmm.
My experience, and I want to hear your experience and what your advice is. My experience and advice, or my experience is that if somebody direct messages me and I kind of jump to start telling them immediately what I think that they need and want, and even drop a link on my first reply, um, it's not, it doesn't work that
Yeah.
well. But if I engage them a little bit and ask them at least one question, at least one question, I don't have to go back and forth a bunch of times, but the power of just asking somebody what I call a qualifying question, because what I'm really doing is I'm qualifying them. If I ask them a question and they respond back, that means they're a really qualified person, because they,
You
right,
have the
they jump,
interest.
they're interested, they're
Hmm.
really motivated. When I say qualified, that means that they're really a hot prospect. If I ask them a question, I say, "Hey, you reached out to me, but first, would you tell me what your current situation is and why you're looking to make a change?" Something simple like that, that's
And people
open.
open up.
Oh, they do. They
They
do.
open up.
And especially they feel really seen and heard and noticed, because somebody that they're watching on social medias responded to them in a DM. That's a big deal. A
Yeah.
lot of us don't realize that we have kind of built up a little bit of a celebrity effect by just simply creating videos.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they always say, I didn't think you were gonna reply back to me.
Totally.
They always say that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so you now tell us what else you've experienced and what works inside of that conversational selling.
Yeah. So it goes back to consuming content. So when I message somebody, I message them once or twice a day, and then that's it. And then I leave it right there. Right. So we're having a conversation, and I just message them one or twice, and then I just stop. Right. And then the next morning, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, now I'm not replying back, right? So they're gonna be like, okay, what's going on? So then what I'm making them do basically is just keep watching my videos, because I'm staying consistent, basically posting
Right.
3 times a day, morning, afternoon, night. I'm always posting those times, right? So when I reply in the morning to a person, and then I don't reply anymore, but then they see that I'm still posting videos, they just keep consuming, consuming, consuming. I'm getting them more interested, you know, into what I'm doing. And then the next morning I reply, and then they reply right away. Okay, like, how do I start? What's the next step, right? So that's what I've been doing, and it's been working for me. Especially
Mm.
just staying consistent with your content. That you have to just stay consistent.
Yeah, and somebody said that. I saw a comment come through, and I forget who it was. Maybe your name was Brandy or something, but I saw a comment, and you were like, "Listen, I know the secret here. Everybody says it. I've watched a bunch of these wake up legendaries. They say you got to be patient, you got to be consistent." Well, Andre just said it. You do have to be consistent, without a doubt,
You
and
have to.
that's true. Every single person on this show has said that you gotta be consistent. But I want to go back to what you said there with how you would respond to people via direct message that's really working. So you're responding, and then you're kind of leaving them to marinate on that, right?
Exactly.
And when you respond, you're not giving them a call to action to do
No.
anything.
No, the call to action is always at the end of the conversation. It goes like back and forth, maybe 5 messages back and forth, and
Mhm.
then I send in the call to action.
What
I'm
kind of things are you saying in the messages back and forth?
just like how you said, qualifying questions. Like what's your background? Where are you located? That's one of the main questions that I ask as well. What do you do? Why do you want to start this? And then I educate them through messaging as well. So I tell them what it is, what they will be learning, right? So I do mention that they're gonna be learning funnels, they're gonna be learning email marketing, they're gonna be learning how to set up domains and stuff like that. And when I do that, I'm just basically telling them they're not gonna understand what it is, basically. You get me? So
Yeah,
I'm basically incentive, like, okay, this is what you're gonna learn. So then eventually they're gonna be like, okay, well, maybe I do need this training,
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
making them interested more just by messaging them.
And not being pushy, right?
No, no pushy at all. No pushy at all. Like, no, none of my videos are go to the link on my bio. None of my I never do that. I always get them to, if I'm on TikTok, I get them out of TikTok. because I can't really have a conversation with somebody on TikTok. So I send them to Instagram. When they're on Instagram, then that's when I'm able to actually have a conversation with them. And of course, there's also Facebook. Facebook Reels is popping up. So
Yeah,
then I have conversations everywhere, but
right.
TikTok platform in TikTok is really difficult to have an actual conversation with somebody there.
And people have been, saying that now for a year or two. I mean, just
Hmm.
that their direct each platform has maybe some strengths and some weaknesses. Um, one of the best things to do, my friends, is go give Andre a follow and just see what he's doing. And I highly recommend you and Brian's podcast. I mean, I was on your podcast and it was a real pleasure. I don't ever do podcasts, but I couldn't resist the chance to come on and hang out with you guys. And that's called Evolved Marketing, right?
Evolve Marketing Podcast
Evolved Marketing Podcast.
by
And
Andrei
so,
Yermejev and Brian Brewer. Yes.
why did you and Brian decide to start up that podcast?
Yeah, so me and Brian went to a big event, a ClickFunnels event, Funnel
Yeah,
Hacking Life. So
yeah.
we were there, and I had recently just got into listening podcasts. So I just kept listening and listening, and just I would learn so much just by having a simple conversation, just by listening to simple conversations. I was learning so much.
Mm,
So then I had the idea of, okay, well, how can we give more to the community, right? Because me and Brian were talking for so many hours, like the first night we were there, and we're like,
we
dude,
should have recorded this,
if we
right?
record this, people are gonna
I know, I know, I know, bro. Never talk to a marketer without at least recording it because,
exactly, like people are gonna learn so much just by
yeah,
the things that we're sharing right now. You know what? Without it's just getting lost basically in just me and you get me. So
yeah,
then we just got together. We were there for 5 days at the event. We just started brainstorming a little bit, and then the event finished on Sunday. And then we're like, and then I told him, all right, Monday morning we don't start right now, then is we're never gonna start it basically. So
mhm.
Monday morning I shoot him a message, we jumped on a Zoom call and we started recording our first episode basically.
Wow.
So, and it's just to give more to the community, and just by sharing stories, by just having a conversation and educating people with stories. That's the main story, right? And then just getting to know more people, and eventually more doors will open up because of we are doing this.
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, the more value that you give, if you can, and I just hope everybody is catching the little details because, I mean, obviously you're a learning machine. I mean, the thing that's changed your life is not that you're a master marketer. It's not that you got lucky. It's that you're a learning machine. And that's obvious in what you just said because you're successful right now. You've quit your job, you just bought a house, you got your wife, she quit her job,
Mm.
you guys are making good money, you have the skills, you know what you're doing. um but you're like, every time I listen to a podcast, I just learn so much. I mean, those are the things that you're focusing on. Those are the things that, even where you're at, those are the things that you're talking about. You can always tell where somebody's head's at, and you can understand more about why they're where they're at when you talk to them for 58 minutes, like I've been talking to you right now. And the pattern that I see is that you're willing to do the work and that you never stop learning. And
Mhm.
that was demonstrated in the fact that you immigrated here from Peru at 14 with your family. And then the other part of your story is that I know about, and I'm sure there's been a lot of other hard shit, is you being willing to go from California to Texas and be willing to go do the work. Now, it didn't work out the way that you wanted, but you were willing to do the work. And when that didn't work out, you started drop shipping, and then you were on and you ran into Daryl Gray, and then you're like, hey, if this kid can do this, I'm gonna put in the work and I'm gonna learn how to do it. And even here, 2 years later, you're at an event and you've come to our event. You just said you went to the ClickFunnels event. You're linking up with other marketers. I mean, when I saw you two started doing that, I was like, wow, what an unlikely duo. You know what I mean? I would have
Exactly.
never guessed, but it's beautiful and it's wonderful, but it's all about the it's all rooted. The foundation is that you guys are still learning, man. You're obsessed with learning.
Exactly. Never stop learning. Never stop learning.
I see people who try to calculate, oh, is me dropping $2,500 or whatever on the blueprints, is that worth it? I saw a thread yesterday going in one of our Facebook groups where somebody asked, should I buy the blueprints? And even a bunch of people who have been in this community for years, man, and who came in here with nothing, And I even had on the Wake Up Show, we're in the comments hating. I said, oh man, the hate is real out here, man. I mean, Lord, please protect me from the hate. But the truth is that I have never bought anything, whether it was a book or a $15,000 event package from Tony Robbins, that I didn't go to all of the events or even hardly any of them. But I have never in my life spent money on education or spent money on me in terms of an investment that I didn't get at least tenfold back. Even if I mentioned that Tony Robbins thing. I was at a Tony Robbins event one time, and he did for all Saturday. He just does his whole lead up to this big pitch for Master University. It's this 3 event package. It's $10,000, and you can add on business mastery for an extra $5,000. Okay. I don't know what his pricing is now, but his pitch, it's a 6-hour pitch on Saturday night, dude.
Wow.
And I've been, and he does this at UPW, Ultimate Power Within. This is his kind of like entry level event. It's his challenge, right? So you go to this 4-day event, man. And I've done it multiple times, but Saturday night, Tony starts going, dude, he tells the same story. It's the same pitch every event, dude. It's unbelievable to watch. It's not coming off. It's not just out of the blue. He's planned it, and it's on purpose. It's the same thing, dude. It's powerful. And dude, he's got sales tables at all 4 corners of the room, and he just parts the seas when he gives the call to action.
Everybody just runs to the back.
Dude, people just run. All right. When I bought it, when I was there, I was a seasoned vet, and I'm on the phone with my wife. I'm like, seriously, dude. But here's my point. I dropped 15 grand on that event, bought a bunch of shit. Okay. All the events he had to offer. And I went to one of them, one of like the 5 that I bought. But here's the thing. That 15 grand that I spent it empowered me because I am willing to invest in myself. So as an information marketer, somebody who also sells courses, coaching, and events myself, it makes me feel more confident. I've got more conviction when I'm selling stuff because I know that I've invested in my own education.
Yeah.
Because I've been willing to put my money where my mouth is.
It's like you believe in yourself.
I believe in myself and what I'm doing. And I believe because I've done what I'm telling you to do, like I'm saying, hey, you should invest in yourself. You should buy our program or buy education somewhere and just begin learning, not from a school system, but in this new way that we're doing it on the internet via e-learning, courses, coaching, events. I have never spent a dime that did not come back to me at least tenfold, or did not increase my confidence, or did not give me more conviction about what I'm doing. Now, I happened to go to that Tony Robbins event, that one event that I went to. Now, I bought 5. I went to one of them. In that one event, I got enough from that one event. It was worth tenfold. Yeah. Because I learned little things, man. I picked up so much information that I've even used in my own content from that one event that I bought, and I bought 5, but I only went to one of them, 15 grand. That was back 8 years ago. So, I mean, I'm sure it's more now, but my point is, Andrei, is that people are, if you're looking at a course that you really want to take and you're not taking it because of an investment of money, because you think that there's no more money, I can't get any more money, I got to hold on to this money that I have. That's the very reason why you have to do it, because you're never going to break through that lack mindset around money. The fact that you think you're saying to yourself, this is all the money I have and I don't believe I can go get any more.
Right.
And that is so damaging. That is so disempowering. And it's why we continue to go back to shitty jobs and take shitty pay from shitty people. is because when you don't believe in yourself, when you don't invest in yourself, when you don't put your money where your mouth is, then absolutely I'm willing to let somebody else control my life. And that is, Susan says, what if you cannot currently pay your bills? Somewhere along the lines, there was some decisions that were made, not by anybody else, but by you. And the best thing to do right now is to take total responsibility for those decisions. And even if you were a victim in some way, to understand that from this day forward, you're responsible. And to be honest about what got you there and be honest about what it's going to take to get out. Not say, what if this? What if that? Look, we all got, a lot of us woke up this morning and the world was on top of us. We weren't on top of the world. You know, there's people in Lima, Peru right now that are on the streets, man, with nothing to eat. If you got at least 10 fingers and 10 toes and a decent brain, you know, you got a chance right now to start looking at things in a more empowering way and looking at yourself as worthy of an investment. And that's, I don't give a shit if you spend money at Legendary Market or not. But until people begin to shift how they view investing in themselves and how they view learning, and going back to this point that I'm proving that, or that I'm talking about, over the last hour and 6 minutes, I've noticed that you're obsessed with learning. I've noticed that you're obsessed with investing in yourself and continuing to evolve your skills. It's what your podcast is named. And I'm going to give you the final word on the importance of these skills and the importance of investing in oneself. Actually spending time and money and energy on you, not on your car, not on your hobby, not on your house, not on your kitchen remodel, on you. Time, energy, and money. Investing it into you, like you're the house, like you need the kitchen remodel, like you need the brain washing, whatever.
Yeah.
What comes up for you as I rant about this?
Honestly, when you have your support system, somebody that supports you, even if you're gonna make a big investment, you might, like how you say, you call your wife, right? I talk to my wife too whenever I took a leap to invest into something big. But then you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. Even when you make that investment, you're gonna get more confidence out of it. You're gonna grow as a person by investing in yourself. It's gonna feel good, you know. And if you don't put in the work, you might feel frustrated as well. But just keep believing in yourself. Don't forget why you invested in the first place, right? So don't forget that. Never forget why you invested in the same place, because people lose that. People lose that
Yeah.
all the time.
That excitement that you had when you first started something new, whether it was this or whatever, but specifically this, I totally agree with you. We get excited. We're like, okay, I'm going to do something new. I see this, and then we allow the kind of old soundtrack. It's that old record. We put it and we start playing it. Well, maybe this isn't really something I could be successful with, or something comes up and we allow it to kind of take us. Usually it's people. People pop up in our lives and we don't set boundaries with them, and then we're off to the races and we sort of forget about the things we're working on. Success is selfish at first. You got to be a little bit selfish. You have to set boundaries and really put the priority on you bettering your life. This is the perfect time to do it. How many people right now are setting New Year's resolutions with absolutely no accountability and no plan?
Right. Yeah.
And then are just going to create the same shame and guilt over and over again because, it's
And then
sort of
they're stuck in that cycle,
yeah, it's a
and
cycle.
then the next thing that opens up, they're gonna have the same mindset because they were not able to evolve that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my friends, no matter what your situation is, know that we're going to challenge you a little bit here at Legendary. I mean, this is a support system for sure, but it's also a place where we're going to ask tough questions and we're going to push you a little bit. We're going to carefront you, not confront you, but carefront you, because oftentimes we don't have anybody in our lives who's really willing to say the tough things, who's really willing to say the things that everybody else is afraid to say. And I like to be that. I like to be that guy who, even if you don't like what I'm saying, you can't call me a liar. You can't say that I bullshitted you. And you know exactly where you stand with me, because I've just kind of learned, and I think you probably have too, and I would say a lot of people listening can relate. The older you get, the less time you got to screw around, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I'm
And
not here to screw around. I mean, really. I mean, it's like do it, get it done with, and get on with your life. And for many of you, the best thing you could do for your 2023 is to just stop working so hard, trying not to work hard, right?
yep.
And just get in there and learn the shit you got to learn, and just go through the uncomfortable awkwardness of being new at something, because we all walk through that uncomfortable, awkward front door of being the newbie. Just be the newbie for a little while. Just embrace it, and go through the uncomfortable pain of being new, because guess what? The pain of being broke and controlled is a lot worse than the pain of being new at something.
Yeah. I'd rather be a newbie doing something for myself than being a newbie doing something for somebody else.
Yeah. All right, brother. Well, listen, my absolute best to you and your family. Happy New Year, bro. And I
Happy New
can't
Year.
wait to connect and hang out with you sometime in the near future. Okay.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
All right, Andre. We'll talk to you later, brother.
Bye, man.
See ya. All right, my friends. Man, go and follow Andre at Freedom Andre, and his name is spelled Andrei. So Freedom Andre. Again, freedom is spelled exactly as freedom sounds. Andre is spelled Andrei. He's got a podcast with Brian Brewer, another fantastic, just amazing dude, who we're proud to have inside of this community as well. It's called Evolved, the Evolved Marketing Podcast. You can go check out more of Andre and Brian's stories. And remember that this show is also published on major podcast platforms as well. We also take each show and we upload it onto YouTube as well. So you've got all of the recordings. I believe there's roughly 600 episodes that we've done with students here inside of our community. We upload them over onto YouTube. You can just Google, or excuse me, YouTube David Sharpe or Legendary Marketer. You should find our channel. I think it's under my name. And then you can listen to these on podcast as well as you're, working out or walking or doing whatever you do. The bottom line is 2023 is here, and now's the time to put you first. Okay. Put your future first. Make it a priority over everybody else's needs. And when you take care of you, you'll then be able to take care of others in a more powerful way. Get on out of here. See you tomorrow for another episode.